Have you ever wondered what we are all made of? All life is made of cells. They come in thousands of shapes and sizes. The human body has over 100 trillion of them, carrying out the dance of life. They are so tiny that 10,000 of them could fit on the tip. The cells in our body undergo over 500 quadrillion chemical reactions every second. That's fast. Their amazing biochemistry has nurtured life over a billion years and protected us from harm. They ask only that we take care of ourselves. Our science has barely begun to understand them. Let's explore cells. We'll learn all about all their parts. Today, the first thing we're going to talk about is modern cell theory. There are three parts. The first part, the cell, is the smallest living unit in all organisms. The second part, all living things are made of cells. And then the third part, all cells come from other pre-existing cells, so they can make more. We're going to use a polar bear to show those examples. So if you look at concept 1, a polar bear is made up of many cells. Concept 2, a different cell in a polar bear's body does different jobs. Kind of like how I'm about to talk about organelles have different jobs within a cell. Cells make up different parts of the polar bear. Like for concept number 3, all cells reproduce. All polar bear cells come from a single living cell, and they divide and they grow to replace old dead cells, and they make more. There are many types of cells that you'll see even though you can't see cells with your naked eye. You have to use a microscope. You have unicellular cells on the left, and then you have other cells like a plant and animal cell on the right. All living things are made of cells. I've got a bacteria cell, an animal cell, and a plant cell in the beginnings. And today we're going to talk about the parts of the cells, and I'm going to use these three types of living things that we have here to show you the organelles, or the parts of a cell, how they look in each one. And the word I just said here is organelles. Organelles is the word that they use for the different parts of the cells. So just like the word organs, and in your body you have different organs like a brain, a heart, and a lung, and each of those items have different jobs. Well, organelles are the little parts of the cell that have different jobs. And so the cells, or the organelles that we're going to go over today, are cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, mitochondria, ribosomes, vacuole, and the chloroplast. And we'll talk a little bit of information about each one as we go. So we'll start with the cell membrane, and those are what I drew already on these organisms. So I'll get my blue pen here. The cell membrane for the animal cell is usually round in shape, and the cell membrane for a plant cell is usually square in shape, and then the cell membrane for a bacteria is always a different shape. It's all kinds of different shapes. For cytoplasm, the cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance that is inside the cell membrane, and it's also over here. The cytoplasm is also in bacteria, and it is the jelly-like soupy substance that lets all the different organelles float around in it. And if you notice, I highlighted cytoplasm with yellow, so I'm just going to color inside here roughly the jelly-like substance, or the soupy substance, that all the different organelles are going to float in. So this organelle is very important at helping all the different parts do their job. So there's our cytoplasm. The most important organelle that I would need to mention is the nucleus, and I think I'll use gray for the nucleus. And the nucleus is usually in the cell, and it is the boss of the cell. It is the part of the cell that kind of tells all the other parts what to do. It's usually round in shape, and I did not draw one in the bacteria. Nucleuses are not in the bacteria. The nucleus is in the animal cell and the plant cell. Those are eukaryotic cells, but the bacteria is a unicellular organism, so it's only one cell, and it's also really basic. So it's prokaryotic. It's before there's even a nucleus. So I'm just going to kind of draw the shape of what it would be if it did form a whole nucleus. But the bacteria has genetic material inside the center floating around, and that is how bacteria reproduce, because of that genetic material. Animal cells and plant cells also have that genetic material, but it is inside the nucleus, and it is what we call DNA. And there's our DNA in all of our cells, so they can reproduce and make more. The mitochondria is part of the organelles that is supplying all of the energy for the cell. It creates the energy, so it is the powerhouse. And there's a whole bunch of the mitochondria floating around in the plant cell and in the animal cell, and it's because both of those animal cells and plant cells need energy. And so the mitochondria's job, being the powerhouse, is to help make that energy from the other things that are in the cell. So I've got mitochondria all over, nice little organelles. The next organelle that I want us to do is the ribosomes. And ribosomes, I'm going to use, and I'll go ahead and put this over here, little blue dots. Ribosomes exist and live happily inside the cells of bacteria and animal and plant cells, because all of these organisms need protein to grow and have nutrients. And so I've got ribosomes all around floating in the cytoplasm. It is an important organelle. Now the next organelle that I want to talk about is the vacuole, and I'm going to use my orange paint for the vacuole. Vacuoles in an animal cell are not that big. It's called the swimming pool here because the vacuole is the part of the cell that holds the water for the cell so that it has the water it needs. In a plant cell, the vacuole is rather large. And so let me get some of this paint going here, and I will color this vacuole rather large. Now, if the plant cell's vacuole doesn't have enough water in it, it will get smaller and shrink, which will make all of the cell membrane shrink, and then the plant cell will look wilted and your plant will kind of get droopy. Something even more interesting about the plant cell is the organelle chloroplast. Chloroplast kind of looks like a little donut, and it is only in a plant cell. It is not existing in animal cells, because plant cells are the ones who use chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is what makes the chloroplast green. That's why I'm using the green marker here. And this is where photosynthesis takes place. So in a plant cell, we've got our chloroplast floating around in our cytoplasm, and that is how a plant would make its own food, being an autotroph. And another organelle that the plant has that other organelle or other cells don't have is the cell wall. And the cell wall helps the cell stay strong and gives the plant structure so that the plant can stand up and a tree can stand tall. And those are the different organelles or parts of a plant cell, animal cell, and bacteria cell. Now, I hope you guys enjoy. In closing, we're going to sum up everything we've learned today in a nice little rap song. Enjoy and get out there and do some science.
We're gonna learn about the cell. If I teach it okay, you'll know it very well. So listen up, 6th graders, no room left for haters. Let's talk about the building blocks of life, cells that make us.
Cells, they're made of organelles. Try to pull it fast when the cytoplasm gels. The nucleus takes over, controlling everything. The party don't stop till the membrane box is seen. Inside the vacuole, we can float around for hours, running around with chloroplast, loving sunlight showers. Cells, they're made of organelles.
First things first, there's 2 different types. Animal and plant cells that make up all life. The little things that make up microscopic cells, the main structures, yeah, we call them organelles. Now let's break it down and get some information. How do cells work? It's a crazy combination.
Cells, they're made of organelles. Try to pull it fast when the cytoplasm gels. The nucleus takes over, controlling everything. The party don't stop till the membrane box is seen. Inside the vacuole, we can float around for hours, running around with chloroplast, loving sunlight showers. Cells, they're made of organelles.
We miss you. Wash your hands.